So the Warriors just signed Al Horford. I think people are underestimating how much this is going to change Golden State. When I think of Al Horford, the first thing I think of is his defense. Al Horford's numbers show why the Warriors' defense can look very different with him in the mix. His defensive rating last season with Boston sat at 110.7, which was better than league average and put him in the range of players still driving team success late in their careers. That's not just a raw stat, it's a measure of points allowed per 100 possessions. So it speaks directly to his ability to steady a line. Rebounding is another area that jumps off the page. His defensive rebound percentage was 18.9, meaning nearly 1 out of every 5 missed shots on his watch ended up in his hands. For a team that sometimes gave up too many second chances last year, that number matters a lot. He averaged 6.8 rebounds per game in the first round of the 2024 playoffs and 5.3 in the conference semifinals. Those playoff boards prove he's still dependable when the pressure rises. Rim protection is also clear in the stats. His block percentage of 2.8 isn't sky high, but it's steady enough to force opponents to adjust. In the first round of the 2024 playoffs, he averaged 1.8 blocks per game. That kind of consistent shot deterrence gives guards more confidence to press on the perimeter, knowing there's coverage behind them. Add in steals, and you see a balanced profile. His steal percentage was 1.0, not massive, but enough to show that he anticipates well without gambling too much. That ties back to his reputation for positioning and timing, and the stats back it up. Defensive win shares might be the most telling single number. Horford posted 4.4 of them in the 2024 season. That put him in strong company, especially considering it was his 17th season. Defensive win shares measure how much a player contributes to wins through defense. So 4.4 means he still swung multiple games in his team's favor on that end. Minutes played also matter. He wasn't just a bench filler. 60 games, 42 of them starts, and an average of 27.7 minutes show that his team still leaned on him. Golden State isn't bringing him in for a token role. They're adding someone who's proven capable of logging real rotation minutes while maintaining efficiency. When you compare his numbers to what Golden State had, the shift is easy to see. The Warriors ranked 7th in the league last season, giving up 111 points per 100 possessions. That's solid, but Horford's personal rating was better, and plugging him in suggests an upgrade. He's directly addressing the gap left by Looney, who didn't bring the same combination of rebounding rate, block percentage, and win shares. Projected metrics add more weight. His expected defensive win shares per 48 minutes sits at .144. That's not speculative hype. It's based on his long track record and how his profile translates. .144 is above average and means that for every stretch he's on the court, he's tilting games defensively. Experience shows up in the playoff sample too. 143 postseason games in his career means the numbers aren't small sample flukes. When he gave Boston solid rebounding and rim protection this past postseason, it wasn't out of nowhere. That level of production is what Golden State is banking on translating to their scheme. The domino effect in the numbers is also real. With Horford anchoring inside, his block and rebound rates project to let the perimeter defenders push out more aggressively. The Warriors already had a top 10 defense, but if his 4.4 defensive win shares carry over and the team D rating dips even slightly below 111, they move closer to elite territory. What I like about Horford's profile is how balanced it is. He doesn't dominate in just one area. His rebounds, blocks, steals, and defensive rating all align to form a steady veteran baseline. That steadiness is something the Warriors needed because their statistical profile last year showed lapses when their starters sat. His presence in 27 or 28 minutes a night should reduce those gaps. Even age doesn't derail the data. 17 seasons in, and his metrics didn't collapse. Posting a defensive rebound percentage near 19 and a block percentage close to 3 this late in a career is rare. The advanced stats like win shares prove that longevity hasn't erased impact. Golden State's system thrives on versatility, and Horford's numbers confirm he can switch and still produce. His 110.7 rating shows he held up across assignments, and his defensive rebound percentage proves he didn't get bullied inside. That balance of interior and perimeter effectiveness is exactly what their numbers lacked without him. If Golden State's team defensive rating improves even a fraction from 111, that can be traced back to Horford's statistical presence. His personal rating already outperformed that, and plugging in his 4.4 win shares into a squad that was already 7th best makes for a clear statistical boost. Lineup data, once it arrives, will tell more, but the projections from last season are enough to call him a stabilizer. .144 win shares per 48. Minutes is a strong model output, and when matched with real playoff numbers like 1.8 blocks per game and 6+ rebounds in a round, it gives a picture of consistent contribution. I also find it impressive how his block and steal percentages combine with low foul rates, meaning those stats aren't padded by reckless gambles. They come from calculated positioning, and that's the kind of efficient production that raises a team's defense without creating holes. Overall, his statistical profile is exactly what the Warriors need. Defensive rating better than league average, rebound percentage that secures possessions, block and steal rates that deter shots and force turnover, and defensive win shares that directly contribute to victory. The team was already top 7, and plugging in someone who produced 4.4 defensive win shares on his own sets the stage for a jump toward elite status. That's how much Horford's numbers matter. They're not just solid, they directly fit the Warriors' needs, and every stat tells the story of a defense that just became harder to crack. But it's going to change their scoring too. Al Horford's scoring numbers tell a story that's different from raw volume, and that's what makes his fit with Golden State fascinating. His effective field goal percentage last season was 54.7, which accounts for 3-pointers being worth more than 2s. That number is solid for a center and shows that he scores efficiently even though his usage isn't heavy. When you add in the fact that he attempted 4.6 threes per game and hit 36.3% of them, you start to see why his scoring impact matters. He's pulling big defenders away from the basket and forcing them to respect his shot. His player efficiency rating was 12.9, which sits below the league average of 15. That tells you he's not putting up superstar scoring efficiency on a per-minute basis, but that's not really the point with him. The Warriors don't need him to shoulder a scoring load, they need him to make possessions cleaner for everyone else. His shooting percentage does exactly that, and it's reflected in the team's projections. He's expected to score 11.7 points per 36 minutes this coming season. That's not going to lead the team, but when you pair that with his ability to stretch the floor, it becomes more valuable than the raw number suggests. His win shares sit at 4.4 from last season, and that includes both defense and offense, but it's clear he's contributing to team success on both ends. That matters when you're looking at the overall scoring impact, because it means his efficiency contributes directly to wins rather than just empty numbers. What really makes Horford interesting is how his spacing changes the Warriors' scoring dynamics. Golden State had trouble generating efficient offense when Steph Curry set. Last season, their offensive rating was 13.4 points better with Curry on the floor. That's the biggest gap they've seen since the 2018 to 2019 season. Horford's ability to hit threes and pass from the high post gives the team a release valve during those non-Curry minutes. Instead of the offense grinding to a halt, Horford can keep the floor spread and help move the ball to the right spots. His passing is underrated in this discussion. He averaged 2.1 assists per game last year, which might not sound huge, but it's meaningful for a center. Those assists often come from the top of the key, where he can find cutters or swing the ball to shooters. That secondary playmaking eases the burden on Curry and Jimmy Butler, and it keeps the offense flowing when defenses overload on them. The efficiency in his shooting shows up beyond just percentage. His effective field goal percentage of 54.7 means that even if he's not shooting a lot, the shots he takes carry value. Compare that to an average center who can't hit from outside, and you see the difference. With Horford, you get a big who punishes defenses for sagging off, and that turns into points for him and space for others. Spacing also helps when you think about lineup construction. If Horford plays alongside Draymond Green, the shooting balance shifts. Draymond isn't a high-volume shooter, but Horford's 36% from deep forces defenses to account for him. That creates room for Curry's drives, Butler's mid-range game, and everyone's perimeter shooting. It's not just about Horford's 11 projected points per 36 minutes. It's about how those points stretch defenses and open up opportunities elsewhere. When looking at projected efficiency, it's worth mentioning that Horford has been remarkably steady across seasons. His shooting percentages don't swing wildly, which makes his numbers reliable. That reliability is critical for Golden State involvement because they can pencil in consistent spacing night after night. The advanced metrics also tell you he's not declining sharply with age. Even in his 17th season, he put up 4.4 win shares. That's evidence that his scoring efficiency hasn't been erased by time. The Warriors can expect him to continue hitting threes at a respectable clip, and that's enough to change their offensive profile. Another thing that jumps out is the balance of his shot chart. He's not someone who only scores at the rim or only scores from deep. He mixes in just enough mid-range and pick and pop attempts to keep defenses honest. That variety, paired with his high IQ, means he takes what defenses give him and rarely forces bad shots. His numbers show efficiency rather than volume, and that's exactly what the Warriors need in a supporting scorer. The on and off court numbers will be important as the season develops. If Golden State's offensive rating improves when Horford plays without Curry, that will validate what the projections suggest. The team struggled in those stretches last year, and Horford's stats line up perfectly with the need for stability. His projected 11.7 points per 36 minutes also tells you that he won't dominate the ball. He's not eating into Curry's or Butler's touches, but he's converting efficiently when the ball swings to him. That's an ideal balance for a team built around stars. Even with a player efficiency rating below league average, Horford's value shows up in spacing and decision making. Numbers like effective field goal percentage, assist averages, and three-point percentage highlight that he knows how to score without disrupting flow. That's a subtle but crucial type of contribution. Golden State's offense ranked in the middle of the league last season, and the addition of a floor-spacing big man could nudge them upward. It won't be because Horford suddenly starts scoring 20 points per night. It'll be because his 36% from three, paired with 50-plus effective field goal percentage, stretches defenses thin and creates more open looks for their stars. That's where his 4.4 win shares take on meaning. They aren't fueled by gaudy scoring numbers, but by efficient, complementary offense that translates into wins. With a team that already has high usage scores, that kind of contribution becomes more valuable than raw point totals. In short, Horford's scoring profile is steady, efficient, and perfectly tailored to Golden State's needs. His three-point shooting at 36%, his effective field goal percentage at 54.7%, his projection of 11.7 points per 36 minutes, and his assist contribution of 2 per game all combine to create an offensive profile that adds quality without disrupting the stars. It's not about chasing scoring titles, it's about making every possession smoother. And based on the stats, Horford's going to do just that for Golden State. And Al Horford is going to be huge on the boards. Al Horford's rebounding profile from last season with Boston gives a clear look at what Golden State's adding, and the numbers alone tell the story without needing extra fluff. His defensive rebound percentage came in at 18.6, which means that when he was on the court, he secured nearly 1 out of every 5 available defensive rebounds. That level of efficiency shows up across multiple contexts, and while it may not seem massive next to league leaders, it still places him firmly in the category of reliable rebounders. For a Warriors team that sometimes struggle to finish possessions, those rebounds become even more important. What jumps out most is his placement in the advanced stat called regularized adjusted defensive rebounding. Horford posted a plus 1.8 in that category, which ranked 14th among all players across the league. Ranking top 15 in such an advanced measure is no minor achievement, especially given that he played meaningful minutes on a contending team. That stat doesn't just measure volume, it estimates how much a player's presence improves their team's ability to rebound defensively compared to a league average player. A plus 1.8 means Horford added significant value by completing possessions and stabilizing the defense. When you pull back and look at raw numbers, the impact holds steady. Horford averaged 6.2 total rebounds per game, with 4.8 coming on the defensive glass and 1.3 on the offensive side. That distribution shows a player who remains engaged on both ends. He's not only helping to close defensive possessions, but also giving his team occasional second chances with offensive boards. While 6 total rebounds per game might not match the double-digit averages of some dominant centers, the efficiency behind them matters more than just totals. Comparing his role to Looney's gives context. Looney posted a defensive rebound percentage of 27.1 last season, which is a higher rate than Horford's. But the advanced data paints a fuller picture. Horford's plus 1.8 regularized adjusted rating shows he still produced a net positive impact, even with a lower personal rate. That can come from smart positioning, effective box outs, and a veteran understanding of where the ball will land. Sometimes, rebounding isn't just about the player grabbing the board themselves, it's about creating space for a teammate to secure it. Horford's ability to do that consistently is captured in the advanced numbers, which show his contributions stretch beyond his personal box score. Golden State's style of play benefits from exactly that kind of subtle work. When Horford secures or enables a defensive rebound, it doesn't just mean preventing a second chance opportunity, it means triggering the start of transition. The Warriors thrive when they can push tempo, and an experienced big who understands how to end possessions cleanly feeds right into that. His numbers might not overwhelm in volume, but his reliability matters more than sheer totals. His ranking in the top 15 league-wide for regularized, adjusted defensive rebounding highlights how steady he remains, even in his late 30s. That's not something you see often from big men who've logged heavy minutes across long careers. Maintaining that level of impact requires more than size. It's about discipline, reading angles, and anticipating the ball's path. Those are skills that don't fade as quickly with age, which is why his numbers continue to hold up. It's also worth noticing how his balance of defensive and offensive boards reflects his role. With nearly 5 defensive rebounds per game, he's consistently ending possessions, while the 1.3 offensive rebounds he collected add another wrinkle. Even though that number isn't huge, it still represents opportunities where he extended possessions for his team. Golden State's offense thrives on additional chances, and any extra look created by Horford's effort on the offensive glass turns into potential points. When I think about how that translates, it's clear Horford's impact won't be about gaudy rebounding lines, but about efficiency and timing. 6 rebounds a night paired with a defensive rebound percentage of nearly 19% is steady production that ensures the Warriors don't get pushed around on the glass. His plus 1.8 impact rating confirms he's not just average in that area. He's actively tilting possessions in his team's favor. Golden State had stretches last season where their rebounding faltered, especially when Looney wasn't on the floor. That inconsistency often allowed opponents to generate second chance points, which directly hurt their defensive rating. By adding Horford, they're plugging in someone whose advanced stats show he minimizes those lapses. Even if he's not hauling in every rebound himself, his positioning and box outs contribute to team rebounding success, and the metrics back it up. The context of Looney versus Horford also matters stylistically. Looney's higher rebound percentage shows he's more of a traditional board gatherer, but Horford's numbers suggest he offers a different kind of rebounding presence, one rooted in stability and efficiency rather than sheer totals. That fits well with the Warriors system, which values flow and quick transitions. Horford doesn't need to be the one racing down the floor after every rebound, but he makes sure someone in blue and gold is securing it. Looking at his offensive rebounding specifically, 1.3 per game might not sound huge, but for a player in his role, it's a useful supplement. Those rebounds translate into extra possessions, which for a team featuring Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler can quickly become high-value scoring opportunities. It's not a stretch to say that even just 1 or 2 additional offensive boards per game can swing momentum, especially in close contests. The advanced stat ranking of 14th in the league for regularized, adjusted defensive rebounding is the most telling number here. That placement signals that his value goes beyond raw totals and into measurable team impact. For Golden State, that means when Horford is on the floor, the likelihood of finishing possessions rises. That alone addresses one of their weaknesses from last season. His defensive rebound percentage of 18.6 is strong for his position and reflects his role as a reliable anchor. It shows he's not slipping in terms of effectiveness, and it highlights his consistency across different matchups. Whether boxing out stronger traditional centers or quicker stretch bigs, he's still maintaining a near 1 in 5 rebound rate. That steadiness is exactly what Golden State needs to balance their front court. I like how the numbers come together to show a player who isn't flashy, but is impactful. 6 rebounds per game, nearly 5 of them defensive, paired with top 15 rankings in advanced impact metrics, paint a clear picture of what he offers. He doesn't need to dominate the stat sheet to make his presence felt. Instead, he provides stability and assurance that possessions will be closed out. Consistency becomes the key word with Horford's rebounding profile. The 18.6% rate and plus 1.8 advanced metrics show reliability across the board. For a Warriors team aiming to maximize possessions and fuel transition, that reliability has as much value as raw rebounding totals. His addition means fewer opponents' second chances, steadier defensive possessions, and more opportunities to let their stars control the game. Golden State's rhythm often depends on securing rebounds cleanly and moving into offense quickly. Horford's presence guarantees that more often than not. His rebounding profile proves he doesn't have to put up double-digit boards to make a real difference, because his efficiency and advanced metrics confirm the impact goes well beyond totals. That's the strength of Horford's rebounding game, and it's what makes his addition such a meaningful upgrade for Golden State. But he's also going to be huge next to Curry and Butler. Al Horford's arrival in Golden State shifts the balance of how their 2 stars, Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, can function on the court. While no direct lineup data for this trio exists yet, the available factual numbers from Horford's most recent season with Boston, along with long-term career stats, paint a detailed picture of how his skills fit into the Warriors' structure. His strengths are measurable, his production is steady, and his value lies in connecting the dots between two players who demand very different offensive environments. By sticking to numbers and advanced projections, it becomes clear how Horford helps them both. Start with the shooting profile. Last season, Horford hit 36.3% of his threes on 4.6 attempts per game. Across his career, he's at 37.7% from deep, which shows a long record of reliability. For a center, those numbers rank among the best stretch big men in the league. Projected forward, he's expected to shoot 37.5% from beyond the arc on 6.3 attempts per 36 minutes. That type of volume and efficiency means defenses can't leave him open, and that immediately helps Curry and Butler. Pulling the opposing rim protector away from the paint creates more lanes for Butler's drive, and it gives Curry wider operating space to run pick and rolls or move without the ball. The numbers are evidence of a skill that warps defensive positioning. The Warriors had a glaring weakness last year whenever Curry rested. With him on the court, their offense thrived. Without him, the offensive rating cratered to 104.2, a mark in the 5th percentile across the league. When Butler was on without Curry, the rating improved to 113.9. which was closer to average but still not elite. Horford's ability to keep spacing intact, swing the ball, and punish sagging defenders offers a factual, practical fix for this. His per 36 projection of 3.1 assists shows he's still capable of functioning as a secondary hub, especially from the top of the key. That's crucial for lineups where Curry sits and Butler carries more creation responsibility. Having Horford as an outlet ensures possessions don't stall, which should lift those non-Curry minutes toward league average. Horford's career assist average sits at 3.2, and while that may not jump off the page compared to guards, it's significant for a big man. His passing adds a layer to Golden State's offensive structure. Imagine the numbers. Butler drives, the defense collapses, Horford receives the kickout, and instead of forcing a contested shot, he finds Curry relocating to the corner. It's a play driven by percentages, not just creativity. His projected 3.1 assists per 36 minutes show this isn't hypothetical flair, but a repeatable skill backed by consistent data. Scoring volume isn't the draw, but efficiency is. Horford's projected 11.7 points per 36 minutes aligns with his role as a supporting scorer. His effective field goal percentage last season was 54.7, proving that when he does take shots, they're efficient ones. Combine that with his projection of 44.3% overall shooting, and you have a player who slots into the offense without needing heavy touches. Curry and Butler will always carry the heaviest loads, but Horford's ability to knock down shots at an efficient clip ensures he adds value even in a lower usage role. The defensive numbers also tell part of the story. Horford's career average sits at 1.1 blocks per game, and projections for this season suggest 1.1 blocks per 36 minutes, along with 0.8 steals. That defensive presence blends with Golden State's 7th-ranked team defense from last year. With Boston, Horford was part of the league's 2nd-ranked defense, so his ability to hold ground, switch on to smaller players, and provide rim protection has been proven statistically. His projected win shares per 48 minutes, sitting at .144, further support his two-way impact. That's a strong figure for a player his age, indicating he remains a winning-level contributor. Butler thrives when the lane is open, and the numbers suggest Horford gives him exactly that. Defenses that sag off traditional centers clog, driving lanes, but Horford's 36% shooting from three punishes that strategy. Even one additional defender pulled 2 or 3 steps further from the paint translates into higher efficiency for Butler's drives. It doesn't show up as Horford points, but it becomes reflected in Butler's finishing percentages. The projected spacing impact is clear when you tie Horford's 6.3 3-point attempts per 36 minutes to Golden State's offensive scheme. That volume isn't passive, it demands defensive attention. Curry benefits in a different way. His gravity already bends defenses, but Horford's floor spacing adds a second axis to that bend. Teams won't be able to load up on Curry as heavily if Horford is spaced at the perimeter, hitting 37% of his threes. His passing, too, complements Curry's off-ball game. Horford has the vision to find cutters, and Curry's constant movement will be rewarded by a big who can actually deliver those passes. It's supported by Horford's career assist numbers and his projection of 3 per 36 minutes. The advanced metrics back up the idea that Horford remains more than just serviceable. His win shares per 48 minutes at .144 highlight that he still contributes to winning at a measurable level. That's not an eye test claim, it's an objective calculation. For a Warriors team already built around efficiency, plugging in a player whose statistical profile aligns with positive impact makes sense. Rebounding adds another layer to his fit with these 2 stars. Projected to pull in 7.8 rebounds per 36 minutes, Horford provides stability on the glass without needing to dominate in volume. His role isn't to out-rebound every opponent, but to ensure possessions and cleanly so Curry and Butler can push into transition. The numbers confirm he's still reliable in that area, balancing his offensive value with defensive fundamentals. At 39 years old, many players see sharp statistical declines, but Horford's numbers don't show that drop-off. His shooting remains consistent, his assist projections stay steady, and his defensive impact, measured through blocks, steals, and win shares, still grayed out as positive. That steadiness matters. Curry and Butler need teammates who can be counted on night after night. The projections confirm Horford offers that reliability, not just reputation. The Warriors' biggest offensive weakness last year came in the stretches when Curry sat. A minus 13.4 point differential in offensive rating is catastrophic for a contender. Butler alone was not enough to stabilize those minutes, even though he improved the numbers somewhat. Horford's ability to space the floor, pass effectively, and keep the offense flowing addresses that weakness directly. His presence won't make those non-Curry minutes elite, but it raises them from bottom tier to respectable. That shift alone could swing multiple regular season games and even playoff outcomes. When breaking down his impact alongside Curry, Horford's fit is reinforced by the numbers. His shooting efficiency stretches defenses. His assist averages complement Curry's movement, and his ability to act as a release valve when Curry is trapped ensures the offense doesn't stall. His projected 11.7 points per 36 minutes aren't about creating shots on his own, but about finishing plays efficiently, a role that perfectly suits lineups where Curry commands most of the attention. With Butler, the fit is just as statistical. Butler thrives in mid-range and on drives, areas where spacing is critical. Horford's 37% three-point shooting forces defenses to cover him beyond the arc, which leaves more room for Butler's strengths. On top of that, Horford's passing numbers mean he can find Butler cutting or posting up, adding versatility to how they attack. Defensively, Horford's 1.1 projected blocks per 36 minutes and his history of anchoring top-tier units make him a useful complement. Butler's perimeter defense pairs well with Horford's positional size, giving Golden State more flexibility in matchups. The Warriors already ranked 7th defensively, and adding a player tied to the league's second-ranked defense last year only boosts their chances of improving. Every projection, from scoring efficiency to rebounding stability to win share contribution, aligns with what Golden State needs. His shooting numbers provide spacing, his passing numbers provide continuity, and his defensive numbers provide structure. Even if he doesn't post star-level box scores, the metrics confirm he raises the baseline in every category. The summary is simple, but grounded in numbers. Horford's 36% three-point shooting stretches defenses, his projected 3 assists per 36 minutes keep the ball moving, his win shares per 48 minutes show he remains a winning contributor, and his rebounding projection ensures possessions and cleanly. For Curry and Butler, those skills make life easier, and for Golden State, they directly address last season's weaknesses. That's why Horford's statistical profile fits perfectly. He's not coming in to be the lead scorer or the primary option, but his efficiency, versatility, and steady metrics complement 2 stars with very different styles. Every number backs up the idea that his addition will balance Golden State's lineups, stabilize their non-Curry minutes, and provide spacing for Butler's drives and Curry's shooting. And he's also going to help the center rotation a lot. Al Horford's addition to Golden State brings a statistical profile that directly contrasts with the center rotation they leaned on in the 2024-25 season. Looking at the playoff numbers from Draymond Green, Trace Jackson-Davis, and Looney, it's clear that the Warriors lacked a true stretch big and relied instead on defense first or paint-oriented contributions. Horford's projections for 2025 to 2026 introduce a different dynamic, one supported by numbers that fit neatly into the areas Golden State needed to address. By laying out both the past production of the rotation and Horford's projected output, the impact comes into focus without any guesswork. Draymond Green logged 32.6 minutes per game in the playoffs, producing 10.6 points, 5.4 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and just 0.2 blocks per game. His field goal percentage was 38.5, and he hit only 27.6% from deep. Those numbers represent the usual mix of playmaking and defensive anchoring that Green brings, but the inefficiency as a scorer and limited rim protection place strained on the rest of the front court. His fouling also mattered, with 4 fouls per game, forcing lineup adjustments. Trayce Jackson-Davis was efficient in his smaller role, playing 14 minutes per game while putting up 7.3 points, 3.3 rebounds, and half a block. His field goal percentage of 92.3 was extremely high, but that came on attempts right at the rim, and he didn't take a single three-point shot. That lack of spacing made him a traditional interior option, effective in bursts, but not someone who altered the geometry of the floor. Looney played just 11 minutes per game, averaging 2.8 points and 4.6 rebounds, while shooting 40% from the field. Like Jackson-Davis, he didn't attempt any threes. His role was narrowly defined: rebound, set screens, and defend in the paint. While useful in specific stretches, the lack of offensive versatility made him easier to scheme against. Those 3 profiles together form the baseline Horford is joining. None of them provided consistent perimeter shooting, and none consistently stretched the floor for Golden State's guards. When you consider that both Jackson-Davis and Looney combined for 0 3-point attempts in the postseason, the hole in spacing becomes undeniable. Now compare that to Horford's projections for 2025 to 2026. Per 36 minutes, he's expected to average 11.7 points, 7.8 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 1.1 blocks, and 0.8 steals. His shooting efficiency projects at 44.3% from the field, 37.5% from 3 on 6.3 attempts, and 85% from the line. Those numbers are not theoretical upside, but based on long-term evidence of how he's aged and produced in recent seasons. The immediate difference lies in floor spacing. Horford taking more than 6 threes per 36 minutes at 37% is a massive shift from Looney and Jackson-Davis, who attempted none. Defenses that ignored Golden State centers will now have to respect Horford behind the arc, and that forces opposing rim protectors to leave the paint. For Steph Curry, that means cleaner driving lanes and wider pick-and-roll spacing. For Jimmy Butler, it opens direct paths to attack the rim without a wall of defenders. The statistical gap here is enormous, because you're replacing 0 attempts with 6 at near league average efficiency. Rim protection also looks different when you add Horford. While Green provided just 0.2 blocks per game in over 30 minutes, and Jackson-Davis added half a block in 14 minutes, Horford's projection of 1.1 blocks per 36 minutes stabilizes the interior. He's not a dominant shot blocker, but his consistency ensures the Warriors won't lose all rim deterrence when Green sits. His rebounding projection of 7.8 per 36 also fits the need to balance the glass when Green isn't there. Compared to Looney's per game, 4.6 rebounds in just 11 minutes, Horford brings steady boards without requiring the same physical toll Looney endured. Passing is another differentiator. Green remains the playmaking hub with 4.6 assists in the playoffs, but Horford's projected 3.1 assists per 36 minutes mean he adds another layer of distribution. Compare that to Looney's 0.2 or Jackson-Davis's half an assist, and it's clear Horford gives Golden State another outlet who can keep the offense flowing. For a team that struggled when Curry sat, their offensive rating dropped to 100 of 4.2, which was in the 5th percentile league-wide. Having a secondary hub is crucial. Butler improved those minutes slightly to 113.9, but Horford's passing and shooting numbers directly target the team's biggest statistical weakness. Win shares per 48 minutes tell the bigger story of Horford's overall impact. At a projected .144, he remains in positive, winning territory. That's better than replacement level production and shows that his two-way contributions stack up favorably against what Golden State got from their other centers. Neither Jackson-Davis nor Looney had the offensive versatility or efficiency to sustain second units, while Horford's projection places him firmly in the category of steady contributors. If Horford starts, Golden State moves from a non-shooting center to a full stretch 5. That transition isn't minor. A front court anchored by Green and Horford creates a switchable defense without sacrificing spacing on the other end. If Horford comes off the bench, he instantly becomes one of the league's most skilled reserve centers, combining three-point volume, rebounding, and playmaking in a way very few backups can match. Both roles give Golden State a statistical upgrade from last season's rotation. The numbers also reduce pressure on Green. He was the leading rebounder among the group despite being undersized and taking on heavy defensive assignments. With Horford projected to rebound at nearly 8 per 36, Green won't need to overextend himself on the glass. that lowers his foul rate, which sat at 4 per game in the playoffs, and keeps him fresher for late-game defensive assignments. In terms of lineup flexibility, Horford's 6+ three-point attempts per 36 minutes create lineup combinations Golden State simply couldn't deploy before. Imagine lineups where Green, Horford, and Butler share the floor. Statistically, you now have 2 bigs capable of defending across positions, 1 rim protector, 1 strong rebounder, and 1 floor spacer shooting 37% from deep. That kind of balance was missing when Jackson Davis or Looney were on the floor because opponents could simply ignore them outside the paint. The contrast in efficiency is stark. Jackson Davis's 92% shooting in the playoffs looks incredible, but it came on limited attempts exclusively at the rim. Looney's 40% is low for a big whose shots also come almost entirely inside. Horford's projected 44% from the field is more modest, but when paired with 37% from deep and 85% from the line, it represents an all-around efficiency package that fits better with Golden State's spacing-heavy system. Age is the only contextual factor, but the numbers don't show decline severe enough to erase his impact. Even at 39, his projected production mirrors his most recent Boston season. 11 points, nearly 8 boards, and efficient three-point shooting are still present. The Warriors aren't adding him for star-level numbers. They're adding him for reliability and a statistical profile that plugs their biggest gaps. The takeaway from the data is simple. Horford's addition transforms the Warriors' front-court rotation into something more versatile and efficient, where Green brings playmaking but lacks shooting. Horford supplies spacing, where Looney provided rebounding but no offensive versatility. Horford matches the boards and adds shooting plus passing, where Jackson Davis offered efficiency at the rim but no perimeter threat. Horford stretches defenses and still contributes solid rebounding and defense. Every category shows an upgrade. Points per 36 rise, from Looney's 2.8 to Horford's 11.7. Rebounds remain steady at 7 to 8 compared to Looney's 4.6 in limited minutes. Assists jump from near 0 to 3. Three-point attempts go from none to more than 6, with league average accuracy. Blocks stay consistent at around 1 per game, enough to deter but not dominate. Free throw shooting improves massively, from Looney's career struggles to Horford's 85% projection. That's the factual difference. A center rotation that once featured non-shooting, paint-bound players now gains a stretch big with a proven statistical profile. Horford's numbers show he's still a winning contributor, and his projections align perfectly with Golden State's weaknesses. Whether starting or coming off the bench, his impact is clear in the data. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.